everybody. Welcome back to the amazing Anonymous podcast. Go Pack Go, as I might say with this jersey on right now. Crazy game that we just had. How are you doing, Josh?
I am in pain. I am in such pain. That was awful. That
Mhm.
sucks. This is what I was worried about last week. I'm like,
What?
until we beat the Packers, it's I don't feel confident about our playoff chances until we beat the Packers.
Mhm.
But that was before the game. It sucked the way the game ended,
Mhm.
but looking at this objectively as a Bears fan,
Mhm.
I'm thrilled. And you know why I'm thrilled? Is because the way the Bears dominated the Packers in the second half, and they
Mhm.
showed they competed. There's
Yeah.
obvious holes on the roster. There's still plays that have me slapping my forehead and being like, how
Mhm.
could you mess up that badly? All of Jordan Love's big plays generated were mixed up in coverage. Every
Mhm.
single one. And a large majority of them you can point to Jalen Johnson. Even the Josh Jacobs run, you can point to Jalen Johnson. Now is he healthy? I don't know. I don't know if he's fully healthy. If the fully healthy Jalen Johnson was there, does he make those plays? Maybe. But you've seen stretches of this last year with Jalen Johnson too. He has a couple plays or games where he plays like this. Um, and the busted coverages and stuff like that were really the difference in the game. And then the interception.
Mhm.
Um, I'm not panicking on it, but it's a problem with Caleb right now, being in a new system. And
Mhm.
if he throws that ball a little bit early, and doesn't go so far to the sideline before running out of room and like making a last minute decision, that pick does not happen
Mhm.
because he leads Cole Kmet into touchdown. That play was open. Evan Williams
Yeah.
left Kmet to go to the
Mhm.
back, and Keyshawn Nixon, who made a great play, was literally sprinting from DJ Moore's assignment to get to Kmet. And
Mhm.
for people who said that DJ Moore is open, yeah, but nobody's making that throw. Not in
Mhm.
the design play. Like he is rolling out to his left. He has to throw back across his body into more heavier traffic. That throw doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
You could say, why didn't he just run it in? You're right. To be efficient, you want to run it in, and that's the thing with you get with Caleb Williams and Jerry One and Ben Johnson's offense. Overall, I was really happy with how the offense performed in the second half. There are some defensive concerns I have
Mhm.
against the deep, and so I put this game on Dennis Allen and Jalen Johnson a little bit. Um, but overall, I'm really, really happy about this team
Mhm.
standpoint because they just went against two really good playoff caliber defenses, Super Bowl
Mhm.
caliber defenses, and ran the ball down their throats. So
Mhm.
that's gonna and on the road too. So that's gonna translate, and I can't wait to see what they're gonna do in this home stretch. They got to get to 11 though. They got to get to make the playoffs. So
Mhm.
see what happens. Nothing's guaranteed, but that's where I'm at with the Bears.
Yeah. Yeah, like honestly, yeah, like it was the right play call. It was the right person to throw to. Just even having a little bit more air under that ball, I think results in a touchdown. Like if you look at watching that play and the replays, there was space between it. I mean, the DB, he made a fantastic play. Very athletic play, jumping up to intercept that. But like again, like another foot of air on that ball, right? He doesn't catch that interception, and it falls right into Cole Kmet's hand. And Bears seemingly probably go for two at that point, and try to close out the game right there, which I think is a very likely, and the fact that Chicago plays Green Bay so soon again in Chicago this time, I think I would like seems pretty likely that we'll see a different outcome come this game, upcoming one that they have.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah. And here's the thing to realize too. I get the record since 1992, but this is what I don't like about the rivalry because people like to sugarcoat facts, and
Hmm.
Packers fans seem to forget how hard it is to find a good QB because they went from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love, and he's playing great right now. But not all franchises have that luxury. And the Bears have had the worst end of that, where they've not had a quarterback sans Jay Cutler. They literally have it. And what do the Packers have to show for it? One Super Bowl, 2011. They haven't done jack with their talent. Just saying this as a fan. So to look at this rivalry and say it's not one of those things where the Bears still suck. And it's not. That is not what's happening here. Frankly, the Packers almost got swept last year, and this could have been a ball game in OT. Since the Bears have got Caleb Williams, they've been in every single Bears-Packers game. So it is not a gimme. I think this game showed the league that, like, that these games are no longer just a gimme for the Packers, and the Bears are here to compete. And it showed for the first time what happens when you have a quarterback and a coach that can make adjustments. Just for one team. That's just one team. And this is how much they competed. So I'm taking a long picture here. The Packers are in trouble if they struggled like this with a Super Bowl contending team. With a Super Bowl contending roster, I should say. They're in big trouble because you got to be able to stop the run in December. And you got to be able to play efficiently, like, as a defense when it comes to, you cannot have breakdowns in coverage. It's not the first time that's happened to them. So, as a Bears fan, I'm feeling really good. We're playing with house money going into the season, and in year one in Ben Johnson's scheme, Caleb Williams took this team to the wire. And I'm looking at this and saying, watch year 3 of Caleb, watch a few additions on the defense, complete different team, put the same talent on the field. Bears won that one. So I'm really excited about the Bears' future coming out of this. 2 weeks from now, I am not blinking an eye here. It is not. This wasn't a romp where the Bears looked terrible. They were turning the ball over all the time. They competed where they had to, and they just got to win the small details there. That's it.
Yeah, and then, like, honestly, watching Caleb Williams this week, he was a lot of crazy plays. He honestly reminds me of, like, prime Carson Wentz, like you know, that crazy Super Bowl playoff run that I mean, obviously he got injured at the end of that, which kind of derailed everything. But, like, prior to that, Carson Wentz looked like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And I see some of those glimpses in Caleb Williams. I think especially this week, just like some of that hero ball moments that he's had where he's been able to get out of the pocket. You know, like I saw the stat on the screen too, where like on all, like, Caleb Williams has 0 sacks on all or free pressure blitz play. You know, like where like when a guy comes in free or whatever, no blocker, he hasn't been sacked once by a free pass rusher basically all season, which I think is a crazy stat. And it kind of reminds me of some of the physicality and playmaking ability that Carson Wentz had earlier in his career. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I see stylistic differences, though. Carson Wentz had a big problem targeting, like, the intermediate part of the field and beyond. Like, even during his prime when he was playing in the MVP level. I don't see that problem with Caleb Williams. Like, I wish I had tape of him. Like, the throw to Cole Kmet down the sideline, where he's, like, rolling out, has no real estate, was Josh Allen. Like, so you see the highs with him. The thing with what he's having the problem with is hitting the layups in the scheme. And that's the type of stuff that's going to come in year 2, year 3, even more experience they want to have. People forget, like, the difference between him and Drake May was that because both had really terrible situations last year. Drake May at least had coaches that told him how far his drop should be on certain concepts and certain plays. Caleb Williams did not have that with Shane Waldron. You had players coming up to Shane Waldron being like, why are we doing this play? We should do this play. We should do that play. And, like, it was not organized. It was not systemic. Caleb didn't even know how far he needed to go in his drop year 1. Fired the coach midway, fired the OC before that, new OC, don't even use them, bring in a new OC, and he's kind of almost finishing year 2, right? But it's really year 1 in this system. He's finally learning how to go through his drops, how to go under center. He's slowly become more exposed under center and stuff. And these are some of the growing pains I talked about going into the season. Caleb is not a perfect product. And it frustrates me because it's like you see how far this team can go and you see the offensive excellence, but the quarterback is not there yet. But I'm not worried because the stuff that Caleb's struggling with is going to come with time. And it's not a concern. With the guys like Kyler Murray and like Dylan Gabriel and stuff like that, you're seeing issues where they're not able to throw on time. They're not able to hit their reads. They try to scramble too early. Caleb is not doing that. Oftentimes you see him resetting and going back to help Darnell Wright and Ozzie Trujillo get into their sets and whatnot. So that's a major advantage that Drake May and other prospects had over Caleb year 1, even though Drake May and Caleb were in the same positions. And now you're seeing what Caleb's potential can be in a structured offense. Ben Johnson, opening press conference, I went back and watched it. That was the first thing he stressed. Organization, systemic, and you know what you're going to get every single day as far as consistency. And you're seeing those things pan out for the Bears, and I think it's only a matter of time when you see everything come together. So, long tangent, but I feel great about this team. I am, as a fan, I'm hoping they make the playoffs, and I'm just like pleading for them to make the playoffs at this point and not crash and burn. But as far as future, I'm not worried. Not one bit.
Yeah. Next up, we got our observations from Week 14. I think you had film that you wanted to go over, right?
Yep. I got 5 clips for you. Should be some ballers, some interesting concepts, fun stuff to show. We'll start with Harold Fannin Jr., one of my guys throughout the season with the Browns. He's the only guy outside of Myles Garrett that's seemingly doing, and Quinshon Judkins, that are doing things right. Although Sheduer had a heck of a game against the Titans. I'll kind of zoom in here a bit. Let's go back to see some of his targets. So he's lined up to the left on a linebacker, goes outside, wins inside, finds the hole in the zone. That's all you can ask for. Sheduer had a heck of a game, by the way. Props to him. He's proven a lot of people wrong. You also see the run after catch ability, specifically with the toughness. Like, especially even if he's not athletically gifted, he's winning in other ways, and how quickly he gets north and south. He's not getting negative yardage.
Yeah, looking at this game, I was actually really surprised, or not surprised, but like impressed with the amount of tight end screens they ran specifically for Harold Fannin. And like with those calls, and then just his ability to find this open spots within zone. He reminds me a lot of like some of the things that we saw with Travis Kelce a couple of years ago. Not saying they're obviously the same player, but like, his top end speed, his ability to make these, athletic catches, his ability to find the open spots in zone, these designated screens that they're calling for him, all remind me things of like what the Chiefs have schemed for Travis Kelce for the past couple of years with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, and this is a really, really deep tight end class when you look at it. Like Gadsden, you look at Loveland, you look at Warren, you look at Fannin. Like, you look at Mason Taylor, he's going to have a bright future in the Jets, whoever the quarterback for that is. But, like, he has been a really, really bright spot for the Browns. He hasn't been showcased his full abilities yet because they haven't had consistent quarterback play. And then you saw this one to get the game within 2 points, just a crazy catch. But like, if you're seeing trust fills like this in high leverage situations for a rookie, he's going to have a bright future. I'm glad I nabbed him in the 12-team league. If you have a dynasty, hold on to him. He's going to replace David Njoku, if not next season, the year after that, because he has a fantastic talent. Like, his production speaks for itself on a rookie contract. So.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Moving on. Another one of my guys. I talked about him a couple years ago, but he's not really panned out. turns out it really was the quarterback. If you watch Jacoby Brissett, like off the field and like kind of Michael Wilson explaining what he's like as a QB, he's telling them how to be in certain spots in certain situations, and only QBs with a lot of veteran experience, like Marvin Harrison, senior with Peyton Manning, would have that rep. Like Demaryius Thomas, like record-breaking season, Peyton Manning wanted to be in certain spots at certain drops because he would ask him, "What are you good at, Demaryius? Okay, if you want the ball in this spot, you have to be at this yard line by the time I get to this drop." And you're seeing the plays he's making. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but it won't surprise me if he's the wide receiver 1, even with Marvin Harrison in the lineup on some plays, because you can't ignore the season he's having lately. I saw a crazy stat where he was like 6th in the NFL, like in reception yards over the last like 7 weeks. And like he's either going to get a big contract, like where a team will try to trade for him, or like he's going to get a lot of money because I think he's earned it, and he's winning conceptually well. So yeah, love a Michael Wilson.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this team's offense moves forward next season. Because obviously here we're also seeing the Cardinals throw a ton every single week with Jacoby Brissett here, where they do this, as a matter of fact, get down pretty early in these games. And they have a pretty weak run game as well.
Look at
so
that
obviously,
crazy.
Yeah. And so, like, yeah, he's been a guy that I've also – I don't think – I'll admit I probably wasn't as high on him as you probably were, but he was still a guy that I was excited for. I always felt like who's going to be that Cardinals wide receiver that stands out or that, that breaks out. And it's looking right here that it is, in fact, Michael Wilson. And, yeah, so it'll be interesting to see when potentially, a young quarterback, if they do draft, I'm assuming they draft a quarterback pretty high in the upcoming draft or make some type of move, but see how passing volume goes next season with, Harrison back. You have McBride, you'll have Michael Wilson, which is really nice just to have your wide receiver trio, but then kind of see how those numbers pan out once the passing volume potentially drops, because it's not necessarily the game plan that you're always trying to scheme for if you're trying to win football games.
And if you hear some of the reports, Kyler and Cardinals could be headed for a divorce. So it remained to see, like, okay, is Jacoby the bridge quarterback for a rookie that the Cardinals plan on taking? I'm very curious to see where they go in that regard. Going through this draft, we were thinking there were going to be a lot of loaded QBs. That kind of shifted a bit. So I'm very curious to see in a couple months, like, what are the mock drafts pointing to? What are the QB prospects that are declaring for the draft? But curious to see where the Cardinals go with that decision there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they got a lot of talent on the team. They just need a quarterback to get them to the ball, and Jacoby is doing what he can. But he doesn't have the high athletic ability to compete at the top end. That's what's really stopping him. He has experience and the know-how. He knows where he wants to go to the ball and go with the ball. But yeah, certainly looking to upgrade at that position there.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. My guy from this draft, my number 1 wide receiver in the draft class, Mr. Burden. Let's watch him on 27-yard game from Caleb Williams. Play action from the pistol, stop route, change of direction, run after catch. Again, we had talked about this in the Washington game. Look at the separations he's getting. He's getting at least 3 yards of separation on the stop route, and just this quick change of direction ability to get a simple gain. Like he impressed a lot in Rome Odunze's absence. I think he was the leading receiver on the team. And with DJ Moore, again, not panning out so far this season, I would not be surprised if Burden and Rome Odunze are the starting wide receivers next year, and they try to take one guy in the draft because he seems like a perfect scheme fit, and that will take up the Amon Ra role in Detroit, even though it'll probably look different in Chicago than it did in Detroit. He has a lot of upside. I'm really happy he's getting more opportunities as the season progresses.
Yeah. They're looking like a good draft pick here. I'm like, even if they don't necessarily take a guy in the draft, at the wide receiver position, he's like, at a certain point, you got your 2 lead guys, plus you have a solid tight end. That's 3 solid receiving options you have, which is crazy, especially with how young they are too, where you have, it's a year 2, a year 1, and a year 1 guy that you're presuming to be your pass attack of the future. So just the fact that you've basically eliminated the draft need that is receiving threats for like the next 4 years, basically.
Yeah.
Which is really nice. So it's like the Bears are in a position where it's like you don't need to draft any receiving talent for quite a while now, which allows them to invest in a lot of other spots on the team that we've noticed that it has been an issue specifically with the defense. Like the Bears just getting more consistent like run defenders or a great pass rusher. It'll be interesting as well to kind of see who they can draft, just because with the record right now, they're no longer one of these teams that are drafting in the top 10 where you're bound to get a superstar player pretty much no matter who it is, right? And now you're at 15 to 20. If if you don't make the playoffs, you're 15 to 20. If you do make the playoffs, you're like 20 plus. Obviously there's still studs there, but the drop off is a little bit from that top 10. So it'll be interesting to see who they pick, but you'll see a lot more best player available style things rather than drafting for a specific need from the Bears, which I think will be good for them.
Yeah, and I think Ryan Poles has done a phenomenal job. I know he's got a lot of heat from, but like just upholding this roster and continuing not to throw future first round picks like Pace, like it allows them to build and organically grow, and it allows them to find a permanent left tackle, upgrade at running back to like a 3-down monster. If they get Jeremiah Love somehow, I'd be ecstatic for this offense. Like pass rush is probably the top. I think to continue to invest in the D line relentlessly, I think they'll get better in a hurry. Obviously, linebacker and secondary depth, you can't ignore that with the way the season's gone. But yeah, Luther Burden, Colson Loveland, they panned out.
Yeah,
it might not look from the stats, but this is future investments. So year 2, year 3, Ben Johnson's scheme, they're going to get a lot of targets thrown their way. Believe in that.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Want to see a fun formation?
Yes, sir.
After the snap, Dolphins had a day on the ground. Like this is crazy. I think Jalen Wright, leading running back, Devon Achane had a great game. Fortunately, got hurt. But look at this run concept. See how many linemen pull on this play. It's kind of ridiculous. Aaron Brewer's also having a phenomenal season, low key. But that is just how many times do you see the left and the right tackle pull in addition to the center? Very, very confusing for a defense. I just love Mike McDaniel's schemes. Dolphins playing their hardest. I know everybody was like, this team is done, us included, like after week 5, but just admired the effort they're continuing to show on this team. They just need to get the right culture and right guys in place. But you certainly see the upside in how creative the scheme can be around the players.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember, a couple weeks ago, I had a hot take that there is a road to close to being 500 for this Dolphins team. If that does happen, do you think the coaching staff gets fired?
I don't think the coaching staff gets fired. I do think you consider a quarterback change, though. I think, I think Tyreek's definitely gone.
Oh yeah,
I think a lot of the high-priced veterans are definitely gone. But I would not fire Mike McDaniel personally. I think the way he's like helped his team come back. Dude, what was the record, Corstian? What's the record now?
They're 6-7.
Oh my! I laid it up for you, but okay, glad you didn't fall for it. Yeah, but I mean the fact that that's their record now compared to how they started,
Mhm.
Pretty impressive. So, yeah, got to give
Having
props
won
to Mike
4
McDaniel
straight,
for
yeah.
pulling this team together.
Yeah. And so, yeah, Dolphins closed out with Steelers, Bengals, Buccaneers, and Patriots. All tough games, but all somewhat winnable games is what I think about them.
I think you're looking at a 10-17 that's flirting with the playoffs here.
Imagine they went out and they go 10-7. Do you keep Tua?
The week is going to be hot, that's for sure.
That would be a crazy end of the season, especially because like both of us, everyone was literally like, this team just has to completely blow up. But now you're at near 500. Like, can you really do that?
Crazier things have happened, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Last one for the day. I was watching this game live. This hit was crazy by Jalen Pitre.
Oh yeah.
Legal hit, by the way. That's got to be the best hit all week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I forgot the cornerback's name. Starts with an L, but he also had a really good game. Lassiter. Lassiter.
Yeah.
Fantastic game from the secondary. We didn't hear a peep from Derek Stingley. But yeah, look at this pass breakup and the interception after. Like, Texans just had a day. Like, this was a game with, especially after looking at the third quarter, it's typical Chiefs win, and that's a touchdown against any other opponent. But look at the plays they're making in the secondary. Like, it's just, I talked about this last week. This Texans defense is for real, and they are like a nightmare to go against. Felt bad for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs for once because the amount of drops they had despite that. But yeah, just outstanding performances by both members of the secondary.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, obviously the season's been trending down for the Chiefs for quite a bit. But I think a lot of like this game, especially cements the fact that like this team, I think just needs a pretty big reset in terms of just like restarting the rebuild, basically starting era 2 with Patrick Mahomes, you know, or like, because I mean, like we look at like Tom Brady, right, where his career, you can almost break up into like 3 periods of like almost, it's like 3 almost 10-year careers or something, right? With like, or 3 8-year careers or something with Tom Brady, right? And I feel like this kind of signifies the end of, I guess, era 1 of the Patrick Mahomes career, right? And then like you have a lot of aging veterans, a lot of, you know, defensive pieces that just simply aren't working. And then you have like the drops here, the offensive play calling has been poor. And so it's like, you know, like there's a lot that I think needs to be changed. It's not a simple, oh, we have like in years past, like, oh, we have issues with our offensive tackles. We'll get rid of our old ones, sign a new one, draft a new one. That patched it, you know, and full steam ahead. Let's go. Let's win. And that's what they were able to do. But now you have an aging Travis Kelce. Patrick Mahomes just simply isn't looking anywhere near as good as he did like even like a year or 2 ago in terms of overall accuracy. An issue throughout his career has just been he's been holding on to the ball way too long. And then obviously like the interceptions this year. I mean, the drops also are a huge part of that. Like the Travis Kelce literally layup into the dude's hands. That one interception, the tipped balls. I mean, only so much that you can do about that from the quarterback standpoint. Maybe from there, it's like you got to throw it to a better guy. But like this Texans defense, I think should be a wake up call for these Chiefs to like pretty much tear everything down. You know, like I'm assuming Travis Kelce may retire this offseason. I feel like this is a run it back type of mentality that they may have had this year in terms of how the Super Bowl went. And, you know, like there was already talks about Travis Kelce retiring last season. And then the Super Bowl happens and you're like, okay, well, you can't end on that note, but it seems like an even worse note to end on, unfortunately. But but if you do lose Travis Kelce, then like I think you need to change a lot to try to keep this team competitive. Also, the run game sucks super bad.
That's the first thing I was going to point to. They haven't committed to the running game for years past. Only time they use the run game is like inside the 5, and Kareem Hunt's been really, really good for them. They got to get a way better running back. Personally, I
Mhm.
think they should have used Bashard Smith a lot more this year. Every time he gets the few touches he has, he's
Mhm.
performed really well. But they're still like insistent on using Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt for all their downs. And there's certain skills they're good at, but they're not
Mhm.
every down backs. I would
Yeah.
invest in an every down back right now. And for the middle of the first round, they can get a really good back in Jeremiah Love.
Mhm.
Imagine him on the Chiefs. Like, he's not coming off the field. And the Kelsey thing, I get it. Your guy, Noah Gray, might be available to step up. There's times I think he looks better than Kelsey in the
Mhm.
intermediate part of the field sometimes.
Mhm.
But then it's also, I think you got to look at the play caller. Like, to me and Matt Net, I think things are too passive sometimes. I'm like,
Mhm.
Mahomes is just trying to create. And I think you got to really look at the play call and be like, okay, this is not great at all. And between that and then Spagnuolo's defense taking a step back,
Mhm.
they it was about time for this team that some of the money allocated catches up to them. So Chris Jones, Travis Kelsey, do you move on from them? I think you do. It might take a couple years to get back to where you are, but
Mhm.
I also think philosophically they need to do a couple things. I'm
Mhm.
not off the board of like Andy Reid. I would never say that,
Yeah.
but I do think they have to change a little bit to try and keep up with like where the NFL is going now, because
Yeah.
other teams are cut off. Like the Patriots are not going away in this future. The Ravens, the Bengals, they're not going away. Next 5 years, the Bills aren't going away. Um, that's 5 teams right there. And then, oh yeah, your division got better. So, yeah, that's a problem. Like,
Mhm.
they're not guaranteed to win their division anymore. Like, I'm talking about for the next 3 or 4 years because of all
Mhm.
the talent that's in place. So, um, yeah, Kansas City's got to take a look in the mirror and like really evolve philosophically and not just player wise.
Mhm. Yeah.
But
Yeah. So, yeah.
the
Like.
headline here is Texans defense is insane.
Mhm.
They still can win the division. They still can win the division,
Mhm.
and if they do, look out because I think they're firing on all cylinders, and the offense is just continuing to prove little by little. Even though
Mhm.
this game wasn't the best indicator of that, because the Chiefs can have a great defense at home from time to time. So
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, at this point, I feel like it's safe to say that like Texans probably have the best current defense in the league right now. I mean, I know we've talked a lot about the Rams, but like,
I would say Seattle can give them a run for their money and the
mhm,
Rams, but they're up there. They're definitely up
mhm.
there.
Yeah, and I think my biggest caveat to that is, um, I look at the offenses of all these teams as well, where the Rams and the Seahawks defense are very greatly supported by how elite all facets of the offense, their own offenses have been. Whereas, like, obviously, I mean, the Texans' offense isn't like the worst, bottom feeders of the league or anything, but like, they've certainly had their struggles over the course of the season. I mean,
You
you
expect
lose,
more out of CJ Stroud given year one.
right? And so it's like the fact that despite the offensive struggles, the defense has still managed to stay dominant because, I mean, I think we look at the Eagles who probably would, I think, just looking at the defense alone, the Eagles' defense is probably right up there with the likes of the Seahawks, the Texans, the Rams right here. But the issue there is the offense, with both turnovers, without the ability to sustain drives. Their defense just gets beat up all game. Like I look at the Bears game, and it's like sure they let up 200 rush yards, which is ridiculous, right? But then I look at the offensive side of things for the Eagles, and like the Eagles going against a Bears team which has been notorious for poor tackling and letting up a ton of yards a game, can't just drive after drive steamroll that defense, and like they're giving the ball back to the Bears offense to just keep on driving against the Eagles, and that wear and tear in a game greatly negatively impacts how the defense is able to function, especially in the second half of that football game. Um, and so look at the Texans, where I mean, the Texans offense, I think, is a lot better than the Eagles right now, which is a crazy thing to say. But Like that offense, like it helps it. So like the offense helps obviously the defense, and so just the fact that the Texans defense is able to do pretty much just as much, if not maybe better in some aspects, to those Rams and the Seahawks with a weaker offense, I think adds to my own personal impressiveness of how I feel the Texans defense has been this year.
Yeah, no, that's a great take. Eagles are kind of, I would say they're kind of got a tier below because of what we've seen the past 2 games. But at the same time, like you have a turnover game like that, and the offense is not playing complementary. How much can you blame? Do you get the defense? Ultimately, that's a tough spot to be at. Quick nugget on the Eagles: 3-game losing streak we're seeing here. AJ Brown's past 3 games, 8 receptions for 100 yards, 110. I'm sorry, for 1 touchdown. 10 receptions for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns against my Bears. And yesterday, 6 receptions, 100 yards. They lost all 3 games. This is not an A.J. Brown problem. This is not just a Jalen Hurts problem. This is the Eagles not playing complementary football and not knowing who they are.
Yeah.
And they got to figure that out. Otherwise, they're 1 and done if the Cowboys aren't catching them.
Yeah.
So that's all I say on that. That's our film review for this week. Corstian, why don't you dive into your top 5 power rankings?
Okay. For me, my top 5 didn't change at all from last week to this week. Which is what? Packers 5, Seahawks 4, Broncos 3, Patriots 2, Rams at 1. And like this week, I mean, like what? Patriots were the 1 team on bye here. And every other team won and like didn't really do anything. I mean, the Bears kept it close to the Packers, which is maybe the biggest knock on the Packers, but like Bears are still a good football team. So like, you know, how much can you knock
last week for you?
What was that?
There were 6 for you last week.
Right? Like
yeah,
beating the ranked 6 team, that's a really good thing, you know, like despite it being a close game. So I mean, like I couldn't really see a reason necessarily to change them up. I guess for the added spice of it all, I will do my teams 6 through 10 then. So team in 10th place, let's make sure I got the right. Yep. Team in 10th place are the Houston Texans.
Okay.
9th are the 49ers.
Okay.
8th are the Lions.
Okay.
7th are the Bears.
Okay.
And 6th are the Bills.
Okay. And you have the Broncos in your top 5. Okay.
Got it. Broncos at 3.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. I can't disagree. I'm very interested to see how your ranking of the Bills would have changed had Joe Burrow not thrown 2 picks back to back. But that obviously that didn't happen. So I respect where you're coming from. I think the Bills win against the Bengals was really, really impressive considering how impressive the Bengals were against the Ravens. So yeah, I really have no arguments to the list. I'm trying to think of what other teams that would go on par, but I really can't because Buccaneers lost to the Saints. Like, it's kind of shocking, like what's going on with them because Carolina could very easily be a top 4 seed going to the playoffs. And yeah, with that said, we can jump right into the contenders versus pretenders talk. So, what has changed for you over the past couple of weeks, looking at the teams like in the playoff picture, or on the bubble?
Yeah,
you can go through all.
I mean, like, I think what we've been saying, especially like the last like week or 2, has kind of just stood the same for both of us, right? Like, I mean, maybe the biggest change is you could argue the Jaguars might be a good team, but like, I feel like personally, T-Law is still a little too inconsistent for me to make me like giving him the full confidence. There's still like a win. They could win any game, you know, like where, I mean, what they beat the Chargers like 35-0 like 2 or 3 weeks ago, right? Like, and like from that, and you're like, wow, that's cool. Chargers were another team where we're like, I'm not super sure about. The Steelers were a team we're not super sure about, but then we were both pretty confident about the Broncos, the Patriots, the Bills, and the Texans. I guess the Colts falling out was a big thing. I mean, like the Daniel Jones injury sucks. It'll be interesting to see how Phillip Rivers plays, though. Did you see that news?
I feel, first of all, I just feel terrible. Like,
Mhm.
talking about a guy that's gutting it out on the field already on like a fractured leg. I don't know if it was a hairline fracture or whatnot, but just even if it was a hairline fracture,
Mhm.
the guy that he was even trying to play through that,
Mhm.
like, just props to him. Like, this was like, was it like a 1-year deal he signed with the Colts to start?
Mhm.
Not that it matters, but like just coming off an injury like that, and then one wrong step and the entire Colts season, like they're not able to win a single game after the season,
Mhm.
and it
Yeah.
has instant ramifications. Chris Ballard might be out of a job.
Mhm.
Okay, I don't think Steichen should go based on
Mhm.
how he's done at the beginning of the season. But like, what happens to Anthony Richardson?
Mhm.
Philip as Philip Rivers is 44. I think his grandfather already. Like,
Yeah.
but I was like, whoa, I was not expecting that. But you hear that news, 5 years retired, starting for you
Mhm.
because Riley Leonard has an injury, Anthony Richardson's still on IR,
Mhm.
Daniel Jones out for the season, and Daniel Jones tearing his Achilles now is not just ruining the hopes for the Colts this season. It impacts next season too. Like, he
Mhm.
won't be legitimately 100% healthy until December next year. So
Mhm.
as a Colts, you gotta quickly pivot your plans and be like, who's starting for us next season? How much trust do we have for them to get for the entire season?
Mhm.
Is it Riley Leonard? Is it Kyler Murray? Is it somebody from the draft we got to pick up? Like, we got to find a guy, and
Mhm.
that I just feel terrible for that entire situation because they were rolling, they had great things going for them, and then Jonathan Taylor was in the MVP conversation and stuff like that, and just like that, all of that is in peril. So
Mhm.
not much you can do for your Colts organization. It just sucks. But yeah, I mean, Jags are looking great. I'm still not going to put them in the contenders list.
Mhm.
Jacoby Myers seems to be like the perfect fit for them though, and they're slowly
Mhm.
climbing. Um,
Yeah.
how do you value the Steelers after their win against the Ravens or the
Um.
Ravens? Like, who do you think is winning this division?
It'll probably be the Steelers. Um. That loss for the Bengals really put the nail in the coffin there. Uh. Ravens just don't look good this season. Like we talked about, like, oh, their defense might turn it around, but it really does look like Kyle Hamilton is really the only consistent playmaker that this Ravens defense has. And it's like, and he can't do everything on defense. He's one guy amongst 11 dudes. Um, you know? And so it's like, sure, you can play him all over, but the rest of he can't pick up the slack of the rest of that defense, which is just performing really poorly. I think we talked about it last week as well, how we think Lamar might still be playing hurt, because I think fully healthy Lamar is able to like get this team more of these wins, right? Like where they're not like yeah. So I mean, it's looking more and more like the Steelers will probably win, and the Steelers honestly feels like they could win it sitting at like a 9-8 record too. So it's not like the Steelers are in super high pressure to like win out the rest of their games, because I think pretty much no matter what happens this season, the Steelers probably finish at the 4 seed. Like I don't think they're climbing ahead of whoever wins the AFC South, the Patriots, and the Broncos in terms of final record. And I don't see the Ravens really catching up, unless Lamar can get back to 100%. So I mean that's just kind of how I feel about the Ravens slash Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel that way. I feel like Baltimore still has a chance because they still have
Mm-hmm.
to go for the AFC North.
Yeah.
So as long as they stay within, like, if they have the same record as the Steelers going into that game, it's anybody's division. And I think they're the most talented, but you could tell Lamar's impacted a bit. And despite that, like, they almost won the game. Like, what do you think about that likely call that was made in the end zone?
Oh, it's a really tricky one. I don't know, like, because by the rules of the game, like he did make the 2 steps, right? Like,
Yeah, they're looking at the third step there because once he makes that third step, you can see the ball start to come out. But he's already crossed the plane and everything like that.
yeah, like he follows the rules, and so it's like, at one point, can a defender just punch the ball, on that second to third step in the end zone and cause it to be an incompletion, like, and that's kind of the tricky line because, like, and I think part of it's just the fact that his arms are still like way outstretched too, like catching that football. Because I think if he had made more of like, if he was able to bring that into his body, like on that second step, and then on that third, it gets kind of like punched out or something. I think you have a better case to say that was a legitimate catch. Like he was able to like bring the ball in, and then the dude just punched it out after he's like caught it. But it was the fact that it still looked like he was in the process of making that catch, and then it got punched. Not then he dropped it. That caused it to be the incomplete pass. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough play, but if you're likely, you gotta
Mm-hmm.
you just gotta shield yourself from the defender, like better, like get your back. And that's a tough one. That's just a tough one for the Ravens. But certainly
Do you know
didn't
who the
lose
Ravens
the game because of that one play.
Mm-hmm. Do you know how the Ravens close out the season this year? I haven't pulled up.
Let me find out. Ravens remaining schedule. So they got the Bengals, the Patriots, the Packers, and the Steelers.
Right, like that's a tough final 4 games for them. And like I look at those 4 games and I'm like, that might be the nail in the coffin. I mean, obviously, I think Lamar, when healthy, really can win any game, but the rest of the team isn't quite doing him as many favors, which I think is the biggest drawback to them winning out. But let's see, Steelers schedule though. Is what the Steelers, they've got the Dolphins, the Lions, the Browns, and the Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the Ravens, you have to win 3 of your last 4, including that Steelers matchup. If you do that, if you go 3-1, they have the talent to do it. You're sitting at what, 9-8, and like you got a shot. You got a shot because you're one game away from the Steelers. So if you split the division at that point, and you got to look at it as this too. 3 of the remaining schedules is in the AFC. So if you can get the tiebreak and that conference record and division record up by beating the Bengals and the Steelers, that can help because I think the Steelers have 1 loss to the Bengals, right? So I'd have to look at their division records of both teams, but the Ravens are able to even it up. This will greatly help their conference records.
And then for the playoff picture on the NFC side, how much has changed for you there?
I'm nervous. I'm nervous for the Bears as like playoff chances because the Lions beat Dallas and they weren't able to close the deal on the Packers. The Lions are just 1 game away, and I know the outside looking in. For me, this Browns game is huge. This is the only gimme on their schedule they have because they got to face the Packers again, then they got to face the Lions, and then the 49ers. All playoff teams or playoff caliber teams right now, even though the Lions are just 1 game back. So it's because the Lions won that week 2 matchup and because we just lost the Packers. This is why I'm like, okay, you got to beat the Packers once, you got to beat the Lions once. Whatever you do, because if you get to 11 wins, I think that gets you there. You're gonna ask the Lions to win 3 out of their 4 games to to make it to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they beat the Browns this week, that's step one, because
Mm-hmm.
the Lions got to face the Rams, but then their next two games, they can win. They can win both the Steelers and the Vikings games. So if the Lions stay one game within the Bears, throughout these next few weeks, I'm nervous because then the Bears can't play with house money. Because they're right there. I do not want it to come down to week 18. So the Bears got to win 2 straight in order to avoid that outcome, I feel like.
Yeah. The NFC end of season playoff race is crazy because in some ways too, I'm like, is the 49ers game almost the biggest must-win game that they might have, considering the 49ers are also on the bubble with the same exact record as the Bears,
Yeah, it could be.
Because Bears and 49ers play against each other in 3 weeks.
Not only that, look at the 49ers. They got the Titans and the Colts.
Yeah.
Next 2 weeks. That's what has me nervous, because you got to keep up with the 49ers too on that point. Because other than the Rams game, the Lions could easily beat the Steelers and the Vikings. So if they go 2-1, they're what, 10-6, and the Bears are 9-4 right now. You gotta stay. You gotta have 11 wins by the time you hit the 49ers game. You've got to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. What's crazy is the Bears could see themselves at the top of the division, like this upcoming week 2, right? If the Packers lose to the Broncos and then the Bears beat the Browns here. Is that right? 9-4. Maybe.
And the Packers can see themselves out of the playoffs too. That's how crazy this NFC, because if they lose the Broncos, the Bears, and the Ravens back to back, that's 6 losses. They're 9-6-1. That's not gonna get it done. I think I feel like there's gonna be one team out of the NFC North and NFC West that's gonna have 11 wins and sitting on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
So if I'm the Bears, I'm like, get to 11, get to 12 as quick as possible. That's gonna be tough, but yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, it's scary. And then Panthers closing out strong could also be a scary group of guys fighting for that spot too. I mean, I think the odds of Panthers just beating the Buccaneers for that 4th seed spot is higher, just straight outright is probably a higher probability, but the Panthers aren't going to go down easily right now to just the fact that they're sitting at 7-6, which is a higher record than the Chiefs, which is a crazy thing to hear.
Yeah, I mean, Panthers come a long way. I think the big thing I would say is they have the same record right now. So again, similar to the AFC North, it's going to come down to if the Panthers can beat the Seahawks, and crazier things have happened. They beat the Rams. If they could beat the Seahawks, they have a shot. It comes down to that game. But actually, no. Wait, no. It changes because they haven't even faced the Buccaneers yet. So they got the Buccaneers 2 times in the last 3 weeks. So yeah, I mean, that's going to decide a division.
Those will be such good division games. Buccaneers versus the Panthers. Imagine saying that at the start of the season, after those first couple of weeks where the Panthers just looked kind of abysmal.
Well, remember what we said before the season started? We thought the Buccaneers were the clear team in the division.
Yeah.
And it looked that way for the first couple of weeks. And we said, but keep an eye out for the Atlanta Falcons and the Carolina Panthers. It's the Falcons take, but Is it really surprising the Panthers are 7-6? I think we had them around this record with the Falcons, like 8-9
Yeah.
wins. So
Yeah. I just look
really
at
not
this.
surprising to see what they're doing. It's kind of shocking that they're right neck and neck with the Buccaneers going into the Final Four game.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was just like after those first 2 weeks, losing 26-10 against the Jaguars, 27-22 against the Panthers. And then I think like they blew out the Falcons, which I think was the immediate downfall of the Falcons there for us. But then they get smoked the week after, 42-13 against the Patriots. They beat supposedly the worst team in the league in the Dolphins. They squeaked by the Cowboys, who we thought was also one of the weaker teams. And then they beat the Jets. And then they get smoked by the Bills. And you're like, oh, these guys have won some of the easier games, but they get smoked against a lot of other teams, which is kind of the big concern. And then Bryce Young started off the season pretty poorly too, I'll say. But he's turned it around, which I think has been a big part of this one. Obviously, Rico Dowdle's been playing like a madman too since he's been back, starting as the running back here. But yeah, this is a really good playoff picture for me. Imagine the Panthers are the team right ahead of the Bears, and the Bears are out of the playoffs. That would be a crazy storyline.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's how good the divisions are.
Yeah.
The NFC North and the West.
Mm-hmm.
So who do you got winning the NFC South? 4 games to go.
NFC South. It might be the Panthers. Like, honestly, the Buccaneers just don't feel healthy. Like, I don't know if like Baker doesn't feel like 100%. Chris Godwin has been kind of on and off all season. I think he's trending upwards though. Bucky Irving, I mean, he's back now, but like the fact that he's been hurt all season, and then they like had him out like an extra week because he like mental health, just kind of like dealing with some depression of like not being able to help his team during that stretch that he was injured. But they lost one of their like starting like down linemen on the defense, like one of like they're starting like not Vita Vea, but like another one of their defensive tackles, who was one of their key starters. He's been out all season. Mike Evans, they're like trying to activate him because of the situation that they're in. So you're going to have a not 100% Mike Evans back on this team. And so it just looks like a very hurt team that is like just trying to claw its way to win the division so that it can be in the playoffs. Whereas the Panthers, they're coming off a bye. Things are trending upward for them. Their defenses looks pretty solid. Bryce Young has played better over the course of the season. Dowdle's been good. I'm a fan of McMillan. Jalen Coker's been rock solid. Xavier Leggett. While I still will diss on him, like he's not the worst guy you could have at the number 3 / like out wide spot for this offense. But like things seem to be trending upward for the Panthers while they're trending downward for the Buccaneers just over the course of the season. So that's why I say the Panthers.
I'd say the Buccaneers they'll hold off just because of experience, but I think I think it will come down to week 18.
I think so too.
I don't feel confident by saying the Buccaneers. It's really a gimme.
Yeah.
Do you think the Eagles hold off in this division? Because they got the Raiders, Commanders twice, and then the Bills in between the Commanders and the final 3 weeks. While the Cowboys are sitting at 6-6-1, a game and a half behind them. They split the season series, but it's not going to matter because of the tie. They got the Vikings, Chargers, Commanders, and Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see the Eagles going 2-2 based on how they played? Because I think that kind of, if they do, that kind of opens the doorway for the Cowboys to make the playoffs, finishing the season 3-1.
Yeah. The only really tough game that I see on this happens to be the Bills. Like Eagles realistically should smoke the Raiders. Commanders look awful. Don't know why they even bothered activating Jaden Daniels like last week. Like the season's been lost for them. It feels like they've been trying to bring him back while he's still hurt, and then he gets hurt that very next game. which is like, what are we doing here, Commanders? Like, you're gonna waste away Jaden Daniels in year 2, and so it's like Eagles seem like they should win 3 of 4 games here. Like, I mean, theoretically, Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty could just have a career game, because I feel like that's kind of the caliber of player that they are against the Eagles. But at the same time, like, the rest of the Raiders suck. And so, like, that's the case there. And then the Cowboys, I think they can beat the Vikings. Chargers, it's a toss-up, but they'll be in that game. I think, like, Cowboys seem like they could win out, which is the thing. It's crazy.
So that begs the question: can the Cowboys win the division?
I'll say yes because I think it's funny.
I think the Eagles figure themselves out in the Raiders and the Commanders game, and hold off and win an epic game against the Bills, because I think what's going to happen is, or actually, I'm going to say they're going to lose the Commanders game, and they're going to beat the Bills. Because losing the Commanders game will spark that edge, saying we're going to lose the division to the Cowboys if we don't win. They'll play with an edge against the Bills, who have seemingly will lock up the fact that they're probably not winning the division this year. They're just doing it for seeding. And the Eagles will have the momentum and pull it out. It won't look pretty. You're going to have a lot of questions, a lot of drama. But I think they do it, and history has shown us the Cowboys will lose to somebody you don't really expect.
Yeah.
It could be the Vikings next week because they got an excellent defense. But with that said, the Cowboys are so talented in that they could win out. It's not out of the realm of the possibility they could win out. But something tells me they will lose one more game they shouldn't, and that will be the difference between winning the division.
Yeah. But I remember it was like back in like week 4-ish, maybe like somewhere like maybe week 5 or 6, that like one of my hot takes was like, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Chiefs and the Eagles both miss the playoffs. And here we are discussing that being a potential reality, that the Eagles and the Chiefs could potentially be both out of the playoffs after being in the Super Bowl. It's crazy stuff, because like I think the last time we saw this, right, was like maybe in the Broncos and the Panthers following that 2015 Super Bowl. But then you could see kind of like the cracks in both teams that following season. Whereas I feel like with the Chiefs and the Eagles, I don't think anybody really saw. I mean, Eagles are still like, they could very much just be in the play. Like, the Eagles have a easy-ish path to the playoffs, right? But like,
and they have a great defense.
Yeah, like the fact that but then just the fall off of the Chiefs this year, and then just the ridiculous offensive struggles of the Eagles this season. Oops, I've rotated. Have been really surprising. But yeah.
Alrighty. A lot of drama. Final 4 weeks will be very stressful for me. Corstian still has the potential for a bye. But let us know what you guys think. Do you think the Panthers are going to win the division? Do you think the Cowboys are going to win the division? Do you think the Jags or the Texans are going to win? Let us know. Let us know your thoughts. Do the Chiefs still have a chance? Do the Ravens make up for it? We will find out in the next coming weeks. But until then, you can follow us on our Instagram channel, amon.a.mission. YouTube full-length videos are found on the Amon Mission podcast. And until then, we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Peace. Will it work this time?
We're back, baby. We're back.
We're so back. We're back.